Welcome to the Tell podcast. Recently, my brother and my niece had been to the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. The images sent were spectacular. The landscape is stark and stunning, but what was disturbing was to see the jeep loads of noisy tourists crowding around the tigers. This is no surprise because this happens to be one of the more popular destinations where you are assured of tiger sighting. In 2025, Ranthambore saw 7 lakh tourists, generating a revenue of around 72 crores. Based on maximum numbers that will not degrade the ecology or the visitor experience, carrying capacity of parks looks into the infrastructure available, potential damage to wildlife and the habitat, etc. These guidelines are then given to the parks. But more often than not, the lure of money becomes a bigger guideline. At Ranthambore, the number of vehicles were reported to have been almost double of what the carrying capacity allowed. Such huge numbers of tourists here have caused the tigers to lose their inherent fear of humans, with sad consequence for both man and animal, as witnessed in the case of the arrowhead's cubs. In many of India's parks and reserves, the numbers of tourists have been rising. Wildlife tourism in India fetched rupees 107,000 crores in 2023 and is poised to double by 2030. Now, is this a good sign? Possibly so for many, except the wildlife. A new study by CSIR CCMB says that wildlife tourism is affecting tigers in Indian reserves. Studying tiger populations across 5 of the tiger reserves in the country and across a time span of 2 years, they looked at stress hormone levels in over 600 scat samples and found the levels very high in tigers living close to the tourism roads or where there was human disturbance. This could affect tiger reproduction and also cause crowding in core areas, leading to more conflicts, the study has warned. Now, the story is the same everywhere. In Serengeti, I happened to witness the frenzy with which 100-odd land cruisers raced to watch a wildebeest crossing and in the process knocking down a few of the antelopes. The fear of missing out after having paid such a huge amount to be there. No one wanted to miss the historic plunging by the animals into the croc-laden river Mara. Elsewhere, a leopard sighting saw vehicles rushing around and circling a tree. A cheetah family of 5 had to run and chase prey in between a dozen vehicles or more. Now, a tourist operator once told me that unless we see and experience the wild, we will not be able to appreciate it. Really? How many come back from a safari to oppose a government project in the core wildlife areas? How many care that around 50 to 60 elephants are getting electrocuted in the vicinity of Bannerghatta across a few months? It would be good if some of these enthusiasts care to ask a few questions. Why are these animals coming out of the forest and wrecking crops and carrying away cattle? It's simple. When habitats are fragmented by roads and mines and railways, and forests get degraded by climate change and human pressures, animals will stray. When provisions run out at home, don't we step out to buy things? Yes, of course, Amazon Inc. has changed things, but animals do not have such services. How many can even appreciate the fact that human population, hunting and poaching, brought down tiger population from around 80,000 in the 19th century down to around 1,400 in 2006, and now it's around 3,600 and odd. And how many of these tourists care to understand the pathetic situation of wildlife today on the planet. Of all land-based mammals, they comprise a mere 2% by biomass, as against 61% comprising livestock and 37% of humans. Around 150 years ago, wildlife comprised around half of land-based mammal biomass. Wildlife is not a mere spectacle for human jeeploads to go gawk at. They play a crucial role in managing ecosystems. Forests thrive due to them, and forests we know sustain life on the planet by being both a carbon sink and an oxygen source. Forest keeps the rivers flowing. So we owe it to the wildlife to leave their homes intact, which is just a 4 to 5% of the geographical area of the country. And when we go visiting their homes, let us keep our distance and maintain silence, even as we get dazzled by their magnificence. Hopefully, the CCMB study will see some changes, some strict regulations in terms of tourist numbers and safari durations.